perfectly placed, will help take down this mid tower. X7 opening up the map even further, opening up the game even further. Question being, what are they going to do off the back of this? Where are they going to look? They've got Baron up in 35. Is there a rush potential, or do they not have the damage?
I don't think you need to go for a rush here. And I don't think you have the rush potential either. Temp, though, might have to go for a little getaway here.
Laken's going to dive towards him. The Lissandra's got a bit of time, can buy some, and there's the teleport coming on through. Jaeger will be helping Tempt get out. It's a 4v2, though. Looks like they're pushing up the wave, but won't look for the dive.
And honestly, forcing out Temp's or Jaeger's TP there is actually a nice silver lining, just due to the fact that when Baron spawns, and if Jaeger was allowed to just go side lane all the time with his whole breaker, with no one coming down to him, and then having the TP up if they wanted to turn on the Baron, that is no longer there, and it will slow the tempo down a little bit for X7.
Tempo slowing could be good here for K-Corp because X7 having all of the advantage, rolling down the hill, need to be stopped. Just saying, dives away from a Viego that he spots. A little bit worried, a little bit concerned, throws up the cat emote, but manages to get away. So, you got Baron on the rift now, but as you say, don't need to go for it, don't need to do anything crazy, just need to gain a little bit more and maybe a team fight alongside. Dragon up in a minute and a half, much more realistic that we're going to see a play around that.
Potentially, but it also goes back to what we were saying about these teams, right? They want to find skirmishes. They're not just going to run down river and then all of a sudden E-ram it to find a team fight. The way these teams play this is like, try and go in and invade camp respawns. Try and get in and get aggressive vision around the objective. See if you can catch someone off guard, as we just saw taking down earlier as well. It's a much more refined game that we sometimes see on an ERL level, and I can't say I'm complaining about it, but it definitely slows down the pace every now and then for it. And that's what we're seeing now as well. You can see it. Push in mid lane, push in the bot lane, get some vision deep into the bot side around this Drake, then set up for it afterwards. If we get the Drake, great. Now we're on soul point. We can start looking towards that. If the enemy walks into us, great. We can take the fight. But if they don't, well, you're still going to be happy about the scenario.
Absolutely. When you've got Jaeger on the side lane with that whole breaker, but I mean, I wouldn't be too happy if I was Jaeger because he's getting a lot of time spent on him. The chain's going to come through from Saken. Does have a little bit of an ultimate if he wants to try and get away, but he needs to use it without anyone blocking away. Jaeger is going to pull the trigger, will be able to time out. K-Corp commit 3. Don't make a scratch.
Oh, and this is so important as well, because this is like in this group that K-Corp and X7 has placed themselves in, you know, they're a tough fight for the top 2 seeds. So the fact that one of them would already go, you know, 1-0 to the others, well, yes, of course it matters because they'll be playing each other again. And if you get the head-to-head against the opponent, like that might as well just be K-Corp out of the group already if they can't find more victories. And that sounds weird selling it off as this already, but the matchup between these two teams is just so damn important in terms of moving forward.
And I mean, we already saw Gamer Legion put in such a strong performance to open their account in this group, and Team Phantasma didn't look like any slouches either, even though they lost out from a region that people aren't traditionally looking at. They're looking to give the GLL something to cheer about. We talked to their coach earlier today, and he was saying that he was looking forward to being able to beat any team in this group because everyone can bleed. Now we find ourselves Dragon secured by X7. They're going to be playing for Soul Point in 4.5 minutes time, and that could be a huge advantage in the coming team fights.
It definitely can, and this is just what we've seen from X7 so many times. I'd actually argue that this is way cleaner than what we usually see from X7. I mean, both you and I, we've seen them in the past. They get cocky. They like to play with their food. Haven't really seen that just yet.
Nata could be in trouble, though the heal is big. Saken goes low, will be removed. It's Haru again as he chases towards Kabashar. Gonna get the stun down. Reckless gets the slow from the zap, and X7 a little bit slow on the follow attempt. Following through, gets the root again as Jaeger moves forward. Haru trying to take down Kabashar, but he's a big nut to crack. Will they be able to do so? He stumbles out somehow as X7 unable to find the follow-up kill. But now we've got 113 looking towards a reset, trying to cut down Jaeger. But once again, this is the tank. They're not targeting the squishy members as 113 dives away from Nada's ultimate and marauds forward once again. Funnily enough, it will only be the 1-for-0, but these tanks, they just won't die.
That's the thing, X7 just so far ahead that they can allow themselves to chase down for the tank without anyone on K-Corp being able to deal damage back on them. Like, that is absolutely insane that they're allowed to go where they use everything, and I mean everything, on that on. But let's have a look at the replay again. Let's have a look at the good reactions, because Nata immediately goes up, great knockup from Fitzing into the charm afterwards to lay off the CC even further. And then comes the chase down. Like, already from the mid lane now, you have an ulting Cyan and great usage of the W from Capuchon to make sure you won't get knocked up into the other knockup. But they used the Lissandra ultimate, they used the stun element, and there's just no damage coming through. You can see Reckless in the back trying to pile auto attacks down, and they just don't do anything because X7 is so far ahead.
When they've got a top side of the map where it's Sion, Volibear, Lissandra, there's so much tankiness up there, you're not able to do damage regardless. 113, once again, looking to make something happen. The Capuchon might have found Nata alone. He has to flash away. 113 over the wall, but doesn't decide to follow through. Haru's coming in towards the top side though. Jaeger's not there. Nata, this is the focus. Teleport's coming in well behind the players. Haru barreling forward, looking for something, but now Jaeger's found his way onto Reckless. Haru does the same, but can they get the kill? Onto the Jig, splashing away. The fight is continuing on the two fronts. Reckless is trying to kite away. Massive damage going through Renata, but it doesn't land on too many. Kasing takes down Reckless though, as Tempt follows through, looking for the CC, slows and kills 113. X7 get 2 picks, and now they can look towards the Baron.
Initially, K-Corp is doing the only thing they can do. It's look for the AD carry. It's look for Nata. He's the easiest target to pick up. But when they then expend everything to get him, and they don't, the teleports, everything from Tempt afterwards, their fight is just sealed, it's just done already, and they're just so split. The goal difference between the teams right now, it's just not fair. And X7 and K-Corp, they're not fighting on even footing.
Absolutely not, but now they're going to have to try and steal away this Baron. Taking diving through, gets a nice chunk onto Kasing, but he's not the priority focus. You've got to imagine this Baron's going to go low. Can it be secured? It will be taken by Haru with the smite. X7, Baron on 5. The question now has to be, I'll attempt no, but the question has to be, what can be secured with this Baron buff?
I mean, you just imagine the whole map right now. X7, they're just stomping K-Corp as it is right now. K-Corp, they were very good to come in with responses in the beginning, especially what we expected from them. A team that likes taking their skirmishes, a team that likes to look for fights in the early game. But X7, they must have done their homework. They just continuously played off their fights. They disengaged them, and they played off their lane priority. And this is just what you're seeing right now in this team fight. It's all the work that X7 has put into the early to mid game, now finally being rewarded in the late game. K-Corp, they aren't able to do anything about X7. And with a Baron buff, as you just asked, will they be able to close out the game with it? Will they be able to push for the base? You can only imagine so at this point. It would be a great comeback for K-Corp if they'd be able to take it back.
Jaeger finds his way into the backline, finds his way onto Cabochard, but again, the Ornn, he's behind, but he doesn't really care about a little bit of damage. And one thing about this X7 lineup is the composition doesn't have hilarious amounts of DPS. Nata's really going to have to put in the legwork, and he needs to stay safe to avoid the likes of 113 and Sagan. Now diving on through, Haru needs to get more diving into the backline, gets onto a squishy. Remember, Terra has to bash away as Cabochard looking to break up the fight. Haru goes low, but Cabo's rooted. He's running rampant as Tempt moves towards 113. He has the ult for safety, but he can't find it in the back of the Dragon Pit as Haru rips him to pieces. Tempt secures the kill in the backline now. Kasing gets the knock up onto Cabochard, who tries to run away. Nata finally pulls the trigger on the ultimate and resets and damage.
Everybody, and welcome back to the Amazon EU Masters. I'm HitBrain, and finally the technical issues have been sorted, but Gulborg was a very, very one-sided stomp, and we're going to have a quick conversation with Mia, the head coach of X7, about that game. I don't know if we've got Mia on the line, so Mia, how you doing? You there? Hey, there we go.
Hello, yes.
Oh,
hello.
Nias, sorry. I don't overheard it wrong.
Classic.
Well, I mean, that was a very, very one-sided game coming out from you guys.
Yes.
Obviously you went in with the mindset to win, but did you expect that game to be that much of almost just you kind of just blowing through that game like that?
Well, obviously, I don't think anyone expected us to not even die against K-Corp, right? We did expect to win. I think we have very high expectations coming into this European Masters. So the win isn't really a surprise, but the way we did it, I think, is a surprise to all of us. Kudos to K-Corp, though, and I'm hoping for a banger game next week.
So, leading on that as well, I kind of want to get you the chance to sing your praises because X7 as a roster, you guys coming in as a roster, coming from the NLC, we're still very much familiar with you, but there's a lot of people who's only experiencing you now for the first time. So I'll give you a chance to sing your praises for your players as well in that game. Why did it go so well for you? Who was you performing? Was there anyone you want to highlight, or was it just like the team as a team?
I mean, let me give you the quick breakdown, okay? You have a rock on top lane, Smitty J, previously in the LCS of Europe, now known as Jaeger, a very solid player, easy to work with, love the guy. And then we have the Korean mid-jungle duo, Haru and Tempt. I mean, I think you just saw in the previous game how incredible they are, and they're definitely the best mid-jungle in all of ERL, without any doubt. And then we have a solid bot lane in Nata and Gising, where I can't complain about. A team just fits really well together, personality-wise, and the highlights, the Korean mid-jungle duo, they're deadly. Be careful of them. They will show a lot of highlights this European Masters, and I can't wait to show you.
I think the whole team looks pretty bloody deadly, to be honest, mate. I'd love to chat more, but unfortunately we do have to keep this truck moving along. So thank you very much for joining us for the interview, and good luck with your games coming up in the future. All right, see you in a bit.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
I mean, Gulborg, that was a very one-sided game. You know, we have obviously as NLC, fans, let's say, we obviously had expectations going into this game, but sitting on the sidelines watching this game, I thought we were in for a real kind of like just brutal fight fest, and it was going to be about this mid-jungle synergy, and yeah, it was about those things, but I just didn't expect KC to just get flattened.
I will say, KC, they were super proactive in the early game. They had a lot of tempo moves on the map, at least. They're going in mid. They tried to make the first move on Herald down towards bot side. They tried getting a few ganks off as well. But X7, they were just like K-Corp repellent on them. They're so good at just making nothing work for them. And as soon as they met into the early game with like a few good plays from Haro, where he finally stands around Temp, they start getting some pickup. They get the first turn in the mid lane. When they get that 2k gold lead 10 minutes into the game and they continuously shot K-Corp down again and again and again, you just get to a point where we're watching team fights like this where there's nothing K-Corp they can do. They're just so far behind, and they don't really have the gold or the inventory to facilitate any of the fights. I also think that the draft coming out from K-Corp was very difficult to play into the Lissandra. I think you struggle with the LeBlanc, you struggle with the Pike, and if you can't get the early game rolling, well then you are going to be struggling in the mid game, and that was the story we saw.
Yeah, it was very much. It just got to a point where KC just couldn't play the game. Reckless was just, every time we watched a fight, it was Harrow just leaping on Reckless. They just had so many tools to be able to get into that backline, shut them down out of the fight. And on the other side, you just couldn't get close to Nata. It's actually a very even damage spread between, the carries of this team. And to be fair, you look on the other side and you're like, well, actually, Sagan and Reckless did do pretty good damage, but it was just, at the end of the day, they just weren't able to kind of utilize the power they had, and X7 just completely ran away with that game. But that is that game done. Let's focus on our next game of the day. And this next game actually is going to be another NLC team. This is the second seed from the NLC, Bifrost, taking on the LFL's second seed, so another LFL in BDS. So let's have a look at Bifrost lineup. Gulborg, we've both been covering this league all season long, but I'm going to let you talk about this team. What are we looking at here?
You're looking at the underdogs going up against the BDS Academy here. I feel like this team is such a bot-heavy driven team. If Odie and Joel, they're performing, then they're doing really well. But the top side of the map have been struggling a little bit in terms of consistency. C-Boys sometimes struggle playing around correctly with the priority. Sometimes will go for a deadly and wave. Shikari looking solid on top side. I actually gotta give that. But Fury as well have shown inconsistencies with champion pool every now and then. I feel like he's found his footing a little bit on the Ahri. But I'm still not completely hopeful. They just struggle at times and not as consistent as I would have loved to see them be.
Yeah, and over on the other side, it is obviously the LFL representatives here, BDS. Obviously, there's a few names that might jump out here if you've been following the European Masters for a while. You obviously got Aggressivo, who is a veteran of the European scene, and you know, there were talks about him potentially making an appearance in LEC over this year. Obviously Crown Shot as well, another player who has been around for a very, very long time, very distinguished AD carry. How do we feel that these two teams and these two rosters compare up versus each other? Because, you know, there's a few kind of veterans from like our scene versus a few veterans from the European scene here going toe to toe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a gap in terms of individual level, I'd say, and I think there's a gap in terms of experience as well coming into it. Once again, I want to highlight Bifrost. They are heavy underdogs leading into this. BDS as well, or BDS Academy rather, in France in LFL. Many people still believe they should have taken that finals. It went to the full best of 5 games, and LDLC, they were able to take it out in that last team fight. But this is such a bot-heavy team, and there's so many things I want to highlight about them, because Crownshot and Erdod, they're just so good at getting 2v2 kills. It wouldn't surprise me to see them try and contest Odie and Jewel, which is like the highlight of Bifrost as well. And then you take a look at the jungle, which you can already see it in the bans. It's so pivotal. Shio's champion pools has been banned out so many times in the LFL, with like 3 bans going up against this guy. And then Seiko as well, taking his LeBlanc away. It's pivotal. He's so damn scary on this champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the bans have rocketed through. There goes that Ahri that you were kind of hitting on for Fury, and they are just going to pick themselves up this volley bet. Obviously, it's a bit of a flexible pick, but we know it's definitely a C-Boy special in the jungle. And over to BDS, see what they're going to look to pick up here. They're going to take the Rise. Again, flexible pick. Can go in the top, can go in the mid. We'll see what the next pickup is going to be here for them. The thing that worries me about Bifrost is they're a team who have typically and domestically lean a little bit more towards scaling and taking it into the late game. So if they kind of sit on their laurels, I do worry that maybe they might have a bit of problems. And you can see they're obviously nodding towards Akram there with the Pantheon Hover. Don't expect to see that one popping out. They are just going to pick themselves up the Jinx here for Odie, another champion which, while it's been good at the meta, we also know Odie has been playing it a lot.
For the viewers that doesn't get the Pantheon hovers, our host in the NLC is a massive Pantheon player, and it's become a meme between all the players in the NLC just to hover Pantheon, to bait him, to make him happy, and then all of a sudden go for another champion. But actually taking a look at what Bifrost then have drafted for themselves, it's actually very skirmish heavy towards these mid to late games, like already having the Horizon into Jarvan, into Aphelios and Ryze that wants to step up, especially Ryze low range. Like, you might actually be going into these team fight with a little bit of playing on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're seeing the bans now. It's in the Jace and the Gwen getting taken away. Looking towards these final bans, curious what we're going to see them actually look to take away as these last 2 bans here. They do look to focus a little bit more towards that top side here for BDS, but taking their time thinking about it a little bit. I really actually like this Veigar pick here for Fury. We know it's a champion which Fury has been pulling out domestically, but it's so good at shutting down these shorter range comps. Like, Ryze is a champion who kind of needs to get into the thick of it. Same for Jarvan, and if you're trying to make your way through a jungle into a skirmish or in the rivers, that cage can just shut down an entire area or make it completely impossible to pass through. I love this pickup for this, just because, yes, the Aphelios will have range, but now it will force them to think, and maybe BDS to rethink a little bit on what they actually want to pick up in this final stage. Do you see the Gnar and the Tom Kench get banned away as the final bans here? So it looks like the next kind of safe support in the Thresh is going to get taken.
Okay, I actually didn't expect that. With the bans coming out for BDS, I actually thought they wanted to blind pick a top laner, save the counter pick for Erdod, but Erdod is just, he is so scary on Thresh. Like, I've seen so many times where he's able to land the hook and just get the 2v2 kill down towards the bot side. On the side of Bifrost, they have opportunities to match this, going for the Leona, despite it not being very good in the laning phase, being greater when you get to the mid to late game in team fights. Or they can go the Enchanter route, where it's literally just, let's shove down that Lulu. You're so fast right now, you can just dodge the hooks, and then you just out team fights. And Renata as well, great pickup into the composition of BDS. Actually, I am really a big fan of what Bifrost have for themselves here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's going to be the final answer here? Obviously, they do have that counter pick in that top lane. See what they're going to look to pick up here and what they want to kind of, you know, if they are playing into an Ornn, so it kind of neutralizes the lane. So probably something like this Aatrox, which obviously, you know, can scrap of him, but, you know, I don't expect to see too much kill pressure up there. Comms are locked in. Good welcome, School Jamada there, watching him all day. That's why. What are you making of these comps? What are your expectations? What we foreseeing in this game, and how do you feel like the earlier stages of this game are going to go?
Honestly, I'm such a big fan of Bifrost blue side draft here. I think this is one of the better blue side drafts we see coming into the tournament, and then you take it into context of what BDSA is actually playing here. Look at the champions, like low range on the low range of Ryze, Aggressiva as well, the melee on the top side that likes to skirmish, and then of course Crownshot, he's forced to take lanes into the Renata. Like, they're going to be fighting in the event horizon of the Vega. They're going to be in the front line of the Ornn and the Volibear, and there's hostile takeover from Joel. I feel like Bifrost composition, it's so easy to pilot, and for BDSA right now, if they don't get the ball rolling in the early game, I actually think they might be in a lot of troubles, because their comeback potential into the composition of Bifrost will actually be a little bit difficult. So there's a lot of pressure on Shio. He will have to, you know, carry his responsibility onto his laners in the early game.
Yeah, honestly, I think Bifrost have drafted themselves a really, really nice comp here. Like you're saying, it's the ability to shut down the short range of BDS, and you know, it's going to be on them to make sure that they're proactive. Keep our eyes on this early game and see exactly what Shio is going to be able to achieve here, as we will be heading into our 5th game here of the Amazon EU Masters. This is the NLC 2nd seed Bifrost taking on the LFL 2nd seed BDSA.
And once again, let's reiterate what we said at the beginning of the broadcast. Bifrost, they are coming into this matchup as a heavy underdog. Was speaking to a couple people in the scene as well, was on a podcast with Barker, the mid laner of Fnatic Queso. And to him, actually, BDSA, he expected to face them in the finals. So this is one of the teams that a lot of players actually, and fans alike, expect to make it far in the tournament on BDSA.
Well, just seeing a early little check here from the LFL representatives, but they are just going to look to play some vision down, try and spot out where C-Boy is starting. C-Boy on the other side of the map, just holding up in the pixel brush, but...
And you know, once again, we talked about the little pressure on Shio as well, right? I feel like this is a guy that's shown so much versatility already as a jungler. Like, his jungle pathing can be wild at times. Like, I've seen him go for red, immediately go onto the enemy red buff instead, or at least just do red raptors into enemy red. Like, this guy, he doesn't mind playing, you know, away from the book, what we usually see, what's the standard. It wouldn't even surprise me to see him just do red buff and walk down bot immediately to try and get the bot lane rolling, because that is just... the versatility we quite often see from him.
We'll keep our eyes on him and see exactly what his game plan will be. Is just going straight to the Raptors to start off with, and Bifrost have a nice little trade at the start just to get himself a little bit of a health bar advantage. Shio finishing up these Raptors, and looks to me like this might be a pretty standard one. Does obviously still have that ward down in the red buff, and keep our eyes, but I think this blast cannon's going over the wall. And
no, he's going to skip it.
Actually, he's doing it. He's either going for a very early gank or he's going in. Over the wall he goes. He called it.
Is he going to flash?
He might just be looking to come in onto the backside. He's not going to flash. He's going to wait for the cooldowns to come back up. Crownshot's using a lot of health into the hook, into the cleanse, into the follow-up hook. Odie needs to be careful as they're just getting a bit more damage. Here comes Shio, though. Duel's being ignited, and Odie needs to try and find the escape. They're looking for the CC. Odie holding those summoner spells is not going to survive today, and Shio played that very patiently, and it pays off.
But we called it from the start. We knew this guy, unorthodox jungle pathing, likes just making the plays work, gets the bot lane ahead here, but very uncoordinated. And a little bit in me says that Odie could just have flashed away there. There's not in for it though. Off towards the top side, Shikari feeling the pain of Agressivo a little bit. A name that you may have heard loads of times on an ERL scale. Many people mention this, guys. As well when they're talking about, okay, what new top laner would we like to see in the LEC? Well, this guy's name, it gets brought up a lot.
It's being consistent time and time again. Agressivo's name gets mentioned. And it is for a reason. Consistently here at the European Masters, consistently a big name, and one of kind of the top contenders of one of the best top laners in the tournament every time it comes around. So
because while he didn't have the success, while he didn't have the success, it's not internationally, but at the European Masters stage, he did have it on the regional scale as well, where they actually managed to win the LFL on Misfits Premier, of course.
No, you're completely right. I was also playing quite a few different regions. I don't have that list on me right now, but I do know that Agressivo has played in a variety of different regions over the years. So very traveled as a player. So we are heading back down towards the bot lane, just paying attention here. Obviously, Odie giving up first blood. Obviously, does feel a sting a little bit. It does look a little bit like Odie didn't lose too much farm, though, so not completely the end of the world. And that gold obviously did go to Shio. And not onto Crown Shot. Obviously, Crown Shot, another kind of veteran player, someone who has been playing in the ERL scene and the European Masters for a very, very long time. Did have a minor debut on the big stage, as Seaboy actually might be making their way over, see if they can find an opportunity to jump in onto this French bot lane, looking for he's going to try and jump on Crown Shot. He's zapped, he's bopped back, and that is going to be Seaboy cashing on a kill. A dot on the run as they're firing more and more. Odie will flash forward and secure the kill. It's a 2-for-none in the bot side.
That is huge for Bifrost, and it's only because that the bot lane of BDSA had to use so many of the summoner spells earlier to get the play moving. Crown Shot even just flashed an E from Renata, if you remember it from the replay, and because of that, they get punished now. Pants down, no summoner spells, 2 pickups for the bot lane of Bifrost.
Really, really nice come around there from Seaboy just to make sure that this bot lane isn't set up for failure. Don't want to let Crown Shot take off, and we are just going to have a look at that play once again. Crown Shot, just nowhere to go. No summoners.
That's the thing. That's the thing. No summoner spells, right? Initially, they're kind of like, do we just go for Erdot here instead, or do we actually move it up towards the Crown Shot? They catch out Crown Shot, just flashes forward from Jewel, gets the slow, gets the handshake, and there's just nothing they can do. They're just getting picked off. And it does so much as well, because you can finally now play towards the pressure of a Jinx as well when you finally get her going. We already mentioned the team fight composition that they have. This short range of BDSA is going to be struggling playing into a Jinx. If Odie takes off in the early game, he might just take it all the way to the nexus of the enemy team and then just try and take the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Seaboy's actually back here, looking to maybe go for the repeat gank still. Crown Shot does have the cleanse this time. They've got the lantern, they're going to jump in, and Adot, he's the one hooked up, he's the one being pulled back, and that is a kill for the support. Crown Shot's losing a lot of health, but here comes Shio. Odie can't quite finish it up. They've got the Realm Warp, and they're bringing in the backup, the knock-up, the bop-up lands, and now they're looking for Odie. Odie's jumping and dodging away, the shielding is on. Odie can't find a little bit more damage, and Zyko able to find the kill. Fury too late to the party. And BDS able to turn it around and cash in on that gank.
We see it so often. Once again, you cheat the tempo a little bit with Ryze. That's the mid lane priority. Initially, it's a good pickup. They've spotted out the vision, but they can't blow him up immediately. And because of this, it's going to take some time where they're able to move down with the Ryze. The communication should have been there. Realistically speaking, Bifrost gets the communication that Ryze, he's moving. We need to back off. Let's just, reset and have Fury push in the mid lane so they're losing farm. But because of this, because they stay around, because they're able to pick up the kills, look at these HP bars. One reset where the bailout is active on Odie and he can get excited, that may have been an entirely different fight.
It could have been. Fury was just a little bit too late to the punch, unfortunately. Shikari, we did look up here earlier, was having a little bit of a rougher time, but now got that Bramble Vest and kind of at that point where he's going to be very hard for Agressivo to be able to actually kill. It's Is out of mana, though. So just need to be a little bit careful there. Zyko's still got the flash, though, but gonna get caught inside the event horizon. Looks to try and get a little bit of damage out, and there's the flash burn. Phase rush as well to get that bonus movement speed. And Zyko able to get away from C-Boy, who's actually being very proactive on the map early. Really nice to see this from a team who, you know, one of the major criticisms where Bifrost can just kind of sit on their laurels a little bit and wait until they get strong in the later game. So it's nice to see them being proactive early. And this is kind of harking back to what you said in Champ Select is, if Bifrost fall behind early, this game will become harder for them.
It's a really good shout, Jake.
Yeah,
and,
it's definitely
like
keep it on it.
Yeah, sorry, that's the delay, man. And it definitely feels like C-Boy, you know, we were talking about it as well, being a pro player, being a player, you know, who's been under a lot of criticism in this roster as well. You know, the one kind of always getting out jungled, at least that's like how some of the comments have been in the back of the scene, really showing up in this game.
Yep, very proactive and, you know, affording their team a lot of extra space. But Adot's going to flash in. Odie, he is just caught out. The hostile takeover, the shielding is coming in, but that will not save his life. The Cataclysm onto 2. Shio able to flash away and able to escape. The Ignite is burning, but Shio will tick down to safety. Zyko also made their way over. As we praise C-Boy, Shio shows up and shows also that they are an aggressive jungler. They are making the plays. First Dragon should be given over here to the LFL second seed, unless some kind of a miracle can come down. It looks like they are just going to give it up.
I don't think there's much they can do about that situation, but what's really commendable as well from BDSA is that Aggressivo just went in and took the entirety of the top side of C-Boy. He saw that he was on bot side, he saw he had the momentum to play with because he had just stacked in a wave and pushed it in, and he just got to maximize his pressure as well. So BDSA, they're actually getting a lot done on the map here.
Oh, that's a nice little hook. Looking to see if they can get a bit more damage. The Ignite was burnt there, but C-Boy's jumping in. Actually got level 6, so can turn that tower off, but seeing that Shio was just standing underneath the tower waiting for them, decided not to jump under. But it is all about bot lane this game. All about bot lane.
I was just about to say it as well, and we did highlight it for Bifrost. Odie and Joel, they've been such a driving factor for them. Odie, one of the best AD carries at NLC, hands down. Joel as well has really had some highest of highs. Sometimes a little bit of lowest of lows as well, but that's the tale of League of Legends. You can't always be on top. In the mid lane though, it's like a no flash.
Flash Event Horizon, they've got everything, and pop goes the Zyko. Fury able to find the kill, and you can kind of see if you look at the minimap on the bottom side, it's all blue. C-Boy is just happy to walk between mid and bot and just constantly permagank those lanes. Very effective, and now being able to punish that flash he was able to burn earlier in the mid lane. This will now translate into the Rift Herald, and I'm curious to see where they decide to put that. If they want to put it in the mid lane, because it has been Zyko out-roaming Fury. So if you can take that tower, it might help them there a little bit.
And it's just, you know, a little bit of foresight of, as well of what's to come with the composition, with this Veigar in the mid lane. It's just so good into the champions of BDSA. If Seeker does not have Flash, well, he's just going to go down. And the same kind of goes for Crownshot if he's out without summoner spells. These are all champions who's going to be struggling into the Veigar. You're going to be playing a teamfight composition. You're going to have to navigate the hostile taker as well. So, I will say, they'll struggle a little bit still when they reach into the mid game, but so far their early game has actually been really nice. The only complaint that would be is that Shio, unfortunately, is the guy on a shot down. You would have loved that was Crown Shot, so you had an AD carry to play around. In the mid lane, though, you highlighted it, the wards. C-Boy, he's still around, and he's got Flash.
He's got duo as well. They might just look to flash in here. They've got the ultimate to turn the tower off. He's pulled back. He's popped up. Zyko gets the lantern to safety. As in they jump. They get the ultimate off for the moment. The hostile takeover. But Adot, you are going to be popped. The Cataclysm will pin them all in. And Shio were able to slide and glide to safety while taking C-Boy down. But overall, Bifrost are the victors of this skirmish.
And they just keep making it happen. Once again, punish Seiko for not having any Flash. It's so easy. Come in with the stun from the Volibear, follow it up with the Event Horizon, and the handshake as well. I didn't think about it, but if you land the handshake, you could just move them into the wall. They didn't do it there, but that opportunity will also be there for them in the late game. There's just so many tools for Bifrost in this game.
A little bit rough in the bot lane, actually, with Crown Shot having a full Kraken Slayer over Odie at this point. Odie has been a little bit thrown to the wayside, 1, 3, and 2, but they have been at least to be able to be somewhat proactive in this lane and not make it completely doomed for Odie. Aggressive taking away the blue buff. will head back up towards this top side. Has actually been able to farm himself 2 plates up here. I don't think we'll see too many more, but Shikari very much aware that he is on an island and his job is just to press that R key when the team fights come.
But this is all Agresivo can do as well. It's all about just finding the goals so you can finally be ready for the mid game. Speaking of mid game and fights, well, let's have a look at bot lane.
Oh, they're looking to jump in indeed. A dot goes for the hook on. They got the zap, they get the kill. Fury able to get it. It's a 1-for-1. Odie is excited, but not that excited. Does need to be a little bit careful as we'll have that Cataclysm coming up somewhat soon.
But they will be able to just push out the bot side as well. But you can just look at the vision control, right? Pink wards coming in from the side of BDSA. Like, the entirety of the map is just glowing red. And it makes it so easy for them to commit to these plays. It's exactly what they want. Fury finds a stun again, still doesn't have the damage quite yet. But BDSA, they're still the team with the tempo. They're still the team looking for it. Yeah.
Yes. Let's have a look at this fight once again. Again, it's just Odie just getting completely zoned from his tower, and the team have to come and save him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's C-Boy getting a little bit too over-aggressive here as well. They trade jungler for support, definitely not what you'd look for. Fury as well, you see the ultimate on almost full HP target, but the fight's not done.
Oh, good Cataclysm, able to pin him out for the moment. Fury dodging away from Agresivo. The hostile takeover is only going to land onto one as C-Boy's limping away. A great ultimate, sorry, a great snare will come in. Nobody follows the Realm Warp out. And that is just going to be all she wrote on that little skirmish, but the dragon is up and both junglers a little bit low on HP, but C-Boy able to get to the honey fruit and heal up somewhat here. As a crown shot is doing some mega damage. Oh my lord! Misses out on the Moonlight Vigil. Well, that was super close.
If that hit, he would have just been dead. Like, he would have just been gone for sure. And BDSA, they continue being relentless. They continue looking for plays, but you see it again. The event for Ryze and for Fury in that mid game just shut it down immediately.
It's such an effective tool at shutting down these teams who have these shorter range carries, want to be up in the action. It's so effective, but even with all those tools, it does look like Bifrost are going to give up this second dragon. They are recognizing that they have got a Jinx who's in a deficit right now. They've not completely spiked. They've done a good job of not falling behind massively, but the gold lead is still 1,000 over to the LFL representatives in BDSA.
Agresivo, though, on the top side, will be able to pick up the first turret of the game all by himself. So once again, not a guy who's going to be able to do much in terms of just 1v1ing the Ornn, because the solo kill should pretty much never come out in this matchup. His goal is still, once again, just become as much of a threat as he can for the mid game. Be sure that he's ahead. Look at the gold right now. He's sitting at 6.8. He's the highest in the entire game, and probably the guy who's had the least resources given to him, but he's so good at just pushing in the lanes. Every time he sees C-Boy spot, goes into the enemy jungle, starts counter jungling, steals away the blue buff. He's taking everything he can on the map to make sure that this is an even game.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like Bifrost are looking to jump onto Zyko here. He's going to throw out the Everfrost in the event horizon, but Zyko's just going to take a little bit of poke. Looks like with this Rift Herald spawning up fairly soon, Bifrost are looking to pay a visit onto this side of the map and see if they can make something happen here.
Pink's coming in on the bot side as well for BDSA. They want to keep Crown Shot here, ready to pick up the turret. He's not seeing at the best of guns right now currently, but he's still way further ahead than Odie, and should probably be able to take a fight if it breaks out. You can just see it there from the great spacing from Crowny.
He's going to throw the Graviton ultimate there, and ooh, that was close from Crown Shot, but he's not going to be dying quite yet, as everybody is collapsing on this bot side. Crown Shot is a juicy target.
And great stuff from Odie there, finding the better trade. And Crowny stepping a little too far up there. Once again, not the best of guns, but had the Graviton to facilitate his teammates if they came around. Luckily from Bifrost, the rest of their team was also reading the play and moved down. So while Rift Herald spawned, they were moving down, and this fight might still happen.
Yeah, I'm going to land the zap. The hostile takeover is going to land onto Zyko as he just runs towards his team angrily. But nobody is going to be getting caught out here.
So difficult.
Again, it's just so much emphasis on this bot lane, man.
They just can't help it. You know, we knew it already. Crown Shot versus Odie, that was the matchup of this game.
Yeah, But in a way, it's kind of been C-Boy versus Shio to me. Like, we expected it to be the bot lane where all the action, but the junglers they've been so fun to watch. And having an amazing showing right now. Absolutely. Remember, Bifrost here kind of threw an upset as well. Wow, Everfrost still on that. Oh, might have to hold that because Fury not going to get realm warped onto, just the threat of that. Remember, Bifrost had to play through the play-ins as the NLC only has 2 seeds. And a lot of people didn't really expect them to actually make it into the group stages, especially when they're a team who heavily rely on the kind of late game scaling. C-Boy has looked a little lost as of late. And they got a really big upset, and it has done them absolute favors. And they are looking like a refreshed team coming in right now.
Honestly,
the question is can they actually keep it up?
Honestly, I agree as well. Yeah, right. Going into what's play-ins, I was one of those guys who said, well, you know what? I don't think Bifrost will be winning against Barca. I think that they might be a little too difficult, but they really found their form. And as you said, C-Boy this time around, he's been a joy to watch as well on the Volibear, really, you know, meeting the level of his opponent as well. Shio currently sitting on that shutdown, but honestly, you don't mind seeing Jarvan with all this gold. He becomes a little more of an initiating tool than an actual damage threat later into the game.
All right, well, it's still a 2,000 gold lead. We're kind of singing the praises of Bifrost, and I mean, to a degree, you can kind of understand it, right? We are NLC casters. These are our boys, but this is the LFL. This is one of the strongest regions in the European Masters, and you know they got their 2,000 gold lead, and they do have tools on this team. You have a Rice, so you have that scaling option there. You got Shio, who's very, very strong on this Jarvan and can maybe make some plays happen on that side. And then you've also got the fact that Crownshot's kind of been farming up a pretty heavy storm right now. At that 10 CS per minute mark on the Aphelios and building towards that second item fairly soon could potentially be a real problem as they find the hook on 2-1, and that costs him his life.
Honestly, I know that so much. It's such a classic as a support player. Oh!
He's going down. It's fake hell. It's not real.
Here we go, C-Boy.
Absolutely amazing Moonlight Vigil. Yeah, they're able to get it. They're able to jump in as well. Shio tries to flag and drag away as he is shut down by the Primordial Burst. But there's a flank, and it's going to be Agresiva who pops the ultimate. They're using the Realm Warp. They're chasing on, but that is the power of the Veigar, able to stop them all from advancing forwards. They can retreat back to safety, but they do need to think about this Dragon, which is getting started up. C-Boy being zoned away, but Crownshot should just be able to finish up the third Dragon for his team as Agresivo is just playing a diversion. He's chilling smited. He bobs them back, but he is on the run. Gonna not get caught out as the rocket goes between the goalposts and Agresivo is out. A diversion well played.
Oh my god, I can't believe Agresivo's impact as well. Look at his KDA. He's 0-0-0, sitting on a 450 shutdown. That's absolutely absurd. But here we have it. Support classic. I can land a hook, guys. Yeah, but you also stand still, and then you die. Odie then being a little too greedy, getting hit by 2 tower shots, not expecting the damage. And then with the Calibrum, Moonlight Vigil from Crownshot, just beautifully played, honestly. And it just feels like, you know, all the time, BDSA, they're playing to the limitations of that draft, but they're still making everything work. The early game, we set out the expectations. Shio, he had to get something done, and he did it. Yeah. Agresivo in a side lane then, having to get ahead. Look at him, he's so far ahead. Event Horizon, it's over. And then he's still able to find the runaway for them to just, you know, get the objective at least. So the fact that BDSA is sitting on Soul Point right now just tells the tale of how good of a team they really are.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a rough game for Agresivo, though, unfortunately. That Veigar is a problem for him. It will make his life really, really hard. As we're seeing OD still behind in the items as Joel is just popped. And Lantern out to safety. Crownshot able to pick up his second kill. There's 2 items coming in nice for him. And they are hovering around this Baron area. I'm curious to see whether or not they actually look for it as the CC chain is just continuing onto C-Boy. With a chunk onto the jungler, that could signal for a BDSA to go for this Baron. It looks like that is going to be the game plan for them. C-Boy can't reset. They are looking for Zyko. They got the Orn Horn. Zyko able to get away for the moment. The hook's going to go wide. The rocket is going wide. Baron's half HP. They may have to look to peel off it, but Agresivo is continuing to be a nuisance. They're in. The Baron is secured, and Bifrost just let it sneak under their noses.
And that's the thing, while Bifrost has a better team composition right now, it just feels like BDSA, they're playing like the better team. They're making things work despite being put on the back end if they go into a full 5 versus 5. The vision control, the timing for setting up that Baron, the hook onto Jewel as well to stop the support, the guy with majority of the vision. You take a look at the inventory right now of the other members of Bifrost, not a single person is sitting on a pink ward other than Jewel. Yes, there's some out of the map, but that doesn't, you know, help the case that you take a look at BDSA, and they're all sitting at pinks. They're all ready to make a play. They're all moving out as a unit, and they're so aggressive with it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. BDSA grouping up here now on the bottom side. They've obviously got this Baron to use, and probably expect to see them also try and deal with this mid wave as Agresivo, level 16, may just look to try and jump underneath this tower. They got the teleport to come in, and that's enough just to send him packing. That's the teleport now burnt by Fury, and that means that bot lane tower will crumble in the meanwhile, and Agresivo just goes straight back up to the top side and can look to take this next tower for himself as well.
And there's so many fires right now, and Bifrost side lanes. Shikari, he's great in the team fights if you need him for an initiator tool. Can't really do so much once the enemy team starts sieging. All he can do is just have a look at it. And no one single-handedly can take on Agresivo. As you just called out, he's level 16. Every time he gets the chance, shove in the waves, get the jungle camps, just create that lead and make it even further. And this is a guy that will be having a hard time shutting down for Bifrost if they don't find the footing in a team fight soon. BDSA, they will just out-tempo with them. They will just open up the map to the point where team fighting won't be necessary.
Yeah, they're looking for Fury as he gets pulled back, but Shio, there is the hostile takeover. Everybody has been hit. The rocket comes in from downtown, but Crown Shot is just too far ahead, able to find the kills. The Realm Walk comes in. Here comes Agresivo. Fury is going to force Psycho to go into the stopwatch at the moment, finds himself a quick shutdown, and just like that, Bifrost are finding their opportunity. Fury's still alive. The Zap's coming in. They've got the Event Horizon. They've got the kills. They've got the shutdowns. Bifrost cashing in big, baby.
They chew in way more than they could eat there in their mouth, and just like that, BDSA overstepping, hook onto Odin, not connecting, and they will be able to push it forward here instead. They will be able to take some control of this jungle, and that's pivotal with Drake spawning up in 30 seconds. BDSA, that's why they're still around. But still, Jake, look at the vision control. Look at how much it's still favoring BDSA.
Yes, it's big, but as we look at the replay again, it's just the Fury classic. How does this guy do this? He always gets away without dying.
It's absolutely insane, honestly incredible. And then it comes to the point where C-Boy lives by taking that W, get the reset through, of the healing through rather. Unfortunately for them, diving in the tower against an Ornn, against a Jinx, against obviously C-Boy on the volley man, then chasing in once again with the Event Horizon coming through, probably a favorite word of this broadcast so far. It just makes it very difficult. Zico in the back, he's on a flank.
He is on a flank, he's level 14, but Odie's hitting with the zap and the traps, and he's able to do a lot of damage, but a lot of damage comes in response, but that is going to be the kill for Odie. A great Event Horizon is going to lock them in place. A double kill picked up for Odie. The flashes come out, and the LFL second seed are sent packing, as Bifrost will finally, at the 26-minute mark, get their first Drake of this game. It's going to be a Cloud Drake, so, you know, yeah, I guess you take what you can get.
The ornaments are finally starting to come through as well. Jinx picking up these items. Once she reaches 3, she's going to be a pain in the ass, especially if she gets IE on the 4th item as well. Very difficult to pilot these team fights. Very difficult to reach that backline. And if you can't reach the backline, well, then you are just going to be losing the fights. Agresivo, 3 versus 1.
He's looking for it. C-Boy, remember, can turn the tower off, and now they're jumping in. Like you said, Odie's got that Wormfall and Sacrifice, so he's going to be doing some absolutely colossal damage. Joel just able to escape with his life. And there we go. The kill is given over, and finally someone able to take him down. Crown Shot, in the meanwhile, though, will be able to start up on this mid lane tower and has pretty good guns for it, so the tower will crumble.
Honestly insane that Agresivo just sees an angle to flash forward there instead of flashing out. You know, man just does not care realizes he is so fat, even opted in for the Zerilda's Garage build, which is great at shredding targets like the Jinx, and especially like the Renata as well. They're so squishy to him. Not able to find it this time around, and granted, he was in a 1 versus 4 and made it way closer than it should have been.
Absolutely, yeah. A little bit until the Baron comes up, so Bifrost can't really take advantage of that. They're just going to try and, you know, get a grip hold on the vision control in the area, and get a grip hold on the waves as well. As that pink is definitely a bait, and C-Boy knew it.
No reason to go for it just yet. And that's the thing. The map currently for Bifrost, it's not really that open. If you're BDSA, you're pushing onto inhibitor turrets. At best for Bifrost, you're pushing onto tier 2. Yeah.
And that gives him a nice amount of gold as a crown shot. Whew. Half healthing onto OD. Calibrum is pretty effective at doing stuff like that. As a Shikari coming in on the flank, there goes the Moonlight Vigil, doesn't land, the flash comes out, the hook goes wide, and Joel's gonna flash in, gets himself the handshake and pulls him back. As they're teleporting in for the flank, they continue the chase, but it looks like that is gonna be all she wrote. Just continue to hold that pressure in at this mid side, and it's the Phantom Dancer third for OD. So it's on that third item. It is a nice spike, but isn't that full IE, but expect that to come in fairly soon. A lot of damage coming out as Shio may just be caught out, may just be popped. The stopwatch has to get used. Well, the Zonya's Hourglass, actually, from Shio.
But that little skirmish is so huge as well. Just the fact that Crown should now moving into the next Baron fight. He will not have cleanse. He will not have flash. If he gets hit by CC, he is most likely dead. Mikhail's still haven't been finished off from the side of Verdot. So if Crowny gets hit by any CC, that's goodbye. That might just be the entire fight if they're able to play it out from the side of Bifrost.
Yeah. And also a big thing to note as well is OD's just about to get flashed back. So on one side, they have no summoner spells. On the other side, they will have all their summoner spells on their carry. Fury still has flash as well. So they're the two key targets for BDSA to deal with. And it's going to get harder and harder for them to do so. It's a fairly fast Baron as well. And they're just going to go for a quick damage check on it. It's going down real quick. The flag goes out, so Shio knows it's going on. The wards have gone into the pit. It looks like Bifrost are just going to call it off for the moment. Aggressivo has got that teleport available and just going for a quick reset. Gonna get in position to pounce if necessary. Shikari still continuing to catch the wave. They're looking for Crown Shot, but he's able to lantern away. Get a quick burst of speed.
The thing is, you don't even need to hit him with the stun if he's isolated like that. If he's just trapped in the circle and the rest of your teammates can get the stun, that might just be it. But now, with no worry of Aggressivo pushing side lanes, they're just gonna go right back to the Baron. C-Boy, he's hooked!
C-Boy doing a lot of damage. The Moonlight Vigil connects in. He's caught under with the Baron. Has to smite for health. There's a Honey Fruit to keep him alive. But C-Boy is sent packing. Has still got that smite coming up. So he's just going to farm the Grog, get his health back, and get back into the mix of it. But that was a really, really big hook. And that brought a lot of space and a lot of pressure here for the LFL team. C-Boy just trying to farm back up off the camps. And Vision has now finally been cleared out. And that kind of big kind of Christmas tree of blue lights that Bifrost were able to pick up for themselves has been cleared out by BDSA, but they are looking just to go back in once again. They give no damage on this Baron pit. The ward's going to go in. Adote looking for the hook, not going to land it. The teleport's coming in, and it might just be the 50-50. The whole of the forward squad's going down. In they go. Baron secured. Crown Shot zoned away. Lantern's going to get used, and Crown Shot on the run, but look inside the base. Zyko is looking for the inhibitors. He has himself Aggressivo in their pocket. The Baron recalls are going to come in, so it's just going to be the inhibitor, but Soul will be the prize on the other side. So BDSA lose Baron, but they will gain themselves Soul and a downed inhibitor.
Yeah, but they're so unfortunate. They're rolling a Cloud Soul. Having an Infernal here to at least just deal some poke it when they're moving forward. Bifrost taking these fights every now and then where you can just poke them a little bit or go out, poke them a little bit, so you don't have to take the full team fight into a Vega. I mean, having the movement speed, it is going to be nice. But if Bifrost, they're able to kite around it, I mean, it's still going to be difficult for BDSA. But it does give them some extra flair in these team fights for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All ornaments now handed out. Shikari just gave the last one over to C-Boy. So that's that kind of extra little spike of power you get from that coming in as Aggressivo's on the flank. Level 18, keep in mind, has been spotted out by the ward. Girl looking to spot him out, but the fight's breaking off. They land the hook onto Shikari. Shikari's going low, but they're going to get Shiho in response. Shikari flashing out, gets himself the great help for the moment, but it's not going to be enough. And Aggressivo stunned up, locked down, but they're continuing to chase after him, and the backup is coming up behind. Odie is miles away from any of the action. In comes the Lantern, but it's not going to be enough. They lock him down with the Event Horizon, and Zyko comes in. The Primordial Burst is there. Odie goes in. They get the hostile takeover. They find themselves the kill. The shutdown's picked up by Joel, and there's another. Bifrost cashing in on kills left, right, and center as Bifrost are just continuing the onslaught into BDSA's base.
Crownshot had cleanse, he had QSS, and still he didn't use it immediately to stop the auto attack to come through on Seiko. Because he dies there, they can then continue the dive.
Yeah, they're going to continue it. They're going in for the flame. Crownshot's got a lot of damage onto Seaboy. It's going to be enough for now. Adolte is going low, but he's not going down. Shio flashes forward and gets himself one off for the moment. Odie's still alive, and he finally falls. They find the kill. Crownshot cashes in, but the Primordial Burst will splash Shio in response. They don't have an AD carry, but they do still have 2 members. And remember, this Veigar will do a lot of damage. They've got the Baron tower under so much danger right now. 1 tower down. 2nd tower next up on the menu. Crownshot's going to have to make a miracle happen. A beautiful play will secure the kill here as Adolte is on the run. The Call of the Forge God's been thrown down. They found the 2-man knockup. The Nexus explodes. Bifrost take the win.
What an upset for Bifrost. I can't believe they've actually done it. Even though the composition was favoring them here, BDSA, they're just playing such a nice game of League of Legends. They played towards their slim win conditions, but their draft, they fell to their limitations for sure.